All right, and good evening, Sunshine State. It is Wednesday, August 29th, 2018. Josh Wilson here flying solo tonight. Marty Paulman. Hopefully we'll have him back next week for the show. But lot going on. It's week 2 of the 2018 high school football season here in the Sunshine State. Least luckily, I can tell you as we're looking at it this week that things are not looking as grim as they were last year at this time, week 2, when we were facing the prospects of actually Hurricane Harvey was hitting Texas around this time last year, just a couple of days later. But there was that storm. I don't want to say that name because it's still lingering in a lot of memories, a lot of minds of Floridians of what happened, and that's the thing, with Hurricane Irma, that's the thing. But at least we're not looking at that. I know there's a couple tropical waves sitting potentially out there, but as I want to say, there's a lot going on with that. But it's hey, I'm knocking on wood. Things are looking great this season so far. I mean, actually, and to be honest with y'all, out of last week's Week 1 games, only 4 games right now are 4 games have had to be postponed further out than being made up on either Saturday, this past Saturday, or on Monday. 4 games. That's it. A couple were canceled, but 4 games. That's actually a pretty good start for Week 1, considering last year it was a complete mess, and really, it's just one of those things where we just have to deal with how Mother Nature goes here. I mean, it's just one of those things here in the Sunshine State. But hey, it's great to be here. It's hard to believe we're actually week 2 now, but everything going on. But remember, y'all can check out the rankings on FloydHSFootball.com. We got the rankings. We've got everything, the classification rankings, the Sunshine State Top 25. We got Joe Pinko's Week 2 game forecast, which we just got that actually up last night. Usually we have that every Sunday, but because of some of the makeups from Saturday and Monday, and then a couple other things, we did not get that in our inbox until Wednesday. Or actually Tuesday, yesterday. So yeah, today's Wednesday, yesterday's Tuesday. I will get my days straight here, because that's the thing, but good evening, Hunter Williams, sending in on the chat here. As remember, y'all listening, you can actually download the Spreaker app on your Android or iOS device, and you can actually chat with us right here on through the Spreaker app. So Spreaker, it's speaker, but there's an R in it. It's Spreaker, Spreaker. If I got it right, Spreaker. Yeah, that's what it's Spreaker. That's how you spell it in the search in the thing in your app store. You can download it. It's free. Then just search FloydHSFootball.com, and then you can chat with us on the thing. So like that. But anyways, guys, a lot going on here. Let's set the table for week 2 real quick here. Coming up at 8:20, I've got Jeff Martin from X's and O's and the Freedom Bowl that is happening this weekend up in Georgia, Milton High School up near Atlanta. 6 of our Sunshine State's best teams are going up there this weekend between a Friday and Saturday slate. We've got that set, and we'll have him on around 8:20. Going to have Jeff Fisher from High School Football America join me, talk about his national rankings and the way how those rankings work. It's a proper. I'm not going to say. I have always had trouble saying that P word. It's proprietary ranking. It's basically it's copyrighted what he's got, and it's a thing. But it's a really cool ranking, I believe. It's a little different than what you see out there on national rankings. A lot of them are human opinion polls out there like that, and like what we do on FloydHSFootball.com with our state rankings and the Sunshine State Top 25. But dealing with that, those rankings, Jeff has done a great job. I've been able to part over the years be a part of some of his podcasts and his now former radio show. But now I get to return the favor to Jeff this time around, and he actually gets to join me on this show instead of me joining him on his show. So this is what we're going to do, is return the favor. And then that'll be around 8:40. After 9 o'clock, I'll have head coach Rich Bedesem from Wekiva High School. Wekiva is one of the hottest teams right now in the Sunshine State. Coach Bedesem has really done a incredible job at Wekiva over the last few years. He started out his head coaching career at Edgewater, went to Wekiva a few years back, and Wekiva state semifinalist last year. Really great team. The Mustangs are really great. It's no longer, being the second. They're the second school in high school in Apopka. Apopka still reigns tradition in that area, but Wekiva has made a statement. It's no longer just about Apopka in the city of Apopka. It's about Apopka and it's about Wekiva. It's about both of those teams, and both of those teams right now actually are ranked top 10 in Class 8A and actually ranked in the Sunshine State 25 going into this week. But for Wekiva itself, Wekiva is facing its biggest test this weekend, and they will face that at the Freedom Bowl in Georgia against North Gwinnett High. So that is going to be a big matchup. That was on one of the national pick'ems over at prepforce.com, and I took Wekiva. Everybody else seems to be taking North Gwinnett. There's just something about Wekiva I really like. Got them ranked number 2 this week in 8A. The AP poll has them ranked number 1. I'm not ready just to dish the number 1 ranking yet to Wekiva. I think if Wekiva can win this weekend, that ranking, that number 1 ranking could be theirs. I'm sorry, Columbus. That's just letting you know that number 1 ranking, it's just all contingent on a lot of things. And then J.C. Carnahan at 9:20 from the Orlando Sentinel. We'll talk Central Florida football because J.C. has done a lot. J.C.'s great, and J.C. will really give us some good insights across the I-4 quarter in Central Florida, from Orlando to Daytona Beach, and then from all the way from Bushnell all the way down to Kissimmee. So we're gonna have that the I-4 quarter, the Florida Turnpike quarter for tonight here on the FloridaHSFootball.com radio show. We're just going to have a lot of fun here, a lot going on. It's going to be great to be with what we got going on. And then, of course, one of the biggest things I've got to do tonight, I'm going to take care of business early here in a moment. We're going to get this out here on Twitter here in just a moment, so that way people can, if they're not tuning in now, they can tune in right now about this particular thing, because we have talked about it since last week. We promoted it over the weekend. We've got we got some nominations in, but we had a lot coming up with the thing with the Riddell Player of the Week award. So Riddell Player of the Week, we've got our first winners of the season here. So this is going to be fun to announce these players here in a few minutes. Again, a lot going on here in the Sunshine State. Here going around the state. And it's like week 2 is really it's really going to be interesting. I've got the 10 games of the week. We've got one matchup between top 25 teams this week. So unlike last week where we had 3, we only got 1 this week. But there's a lot of good games. A lot of really solid, good games this week. In terms of what I picked out on the top 10 games, that'll be part of our media pick'em, which, by the way, I didn't get those up last week, which I need to actually do that. I'll probably do that tonight, get the week 1, show them where people are at, and then we'll post the week 2s on Friday. Just a lot going on. It's a one-man band, to be honest with you. Or should I admit that? Oh, wait a second, I already did. Oh, a lot going on here. Here, we're going to go ahead and tell these people right now, as we're going to get ready to tell them. Coming up now, we're Riddell Sports Player of the Week. That's what we're doing. See, this is what live radio, so we're doing, and we're going to let the people know here, and we're just going to do it, and we're going to actually reveal here in just a moment who our Players of the Week for Week 1 is. That is actually what we're going to do here in just a moment, but again, a lot going on here, a lot around. Actually, the thing, we'll actually probably have a few minutes to talk about the actual rankings this week as well, but here we go. We're going to go ahead and get into this here right now with our first round of Riddell Player of the Week awards for Week 1. Let's start it off with Class 8A. Nick Celidonio. I hope I do not butcher that name. Vero Beach. I'm going to talk about Nick for a moment here, because Nick had a heck of a game for Vero Beach Friday night against the defending 7A Class State champion Venice in a 42-20 victory. That was the the weather was kind of bad over in Venice for a wedge, so they did have some delays over in Venice, but when they got out on the field and took out, how about this? Nick Saladonio, 27 of 31 passing for 413 yards, passed for 3 touchdowns, rushed for another, and that nomination actually came in from his head coach, Lenny Janikowski at Vero Beach. So Nick Saladonio from Vero Beach, our Class 8A Riddell Player of the Week right there. Going into Class 7A, our Class 7A Player of the Week is Jordan Smith from Columbia High School in Lake City. In a game that spanned over a 24-hour period, Smith racked up 388 yards passing, throwing 4 touchdowns, rushing for 1 more, and a 44-21 win over Gainesville, according to Larry Savage at the Gainesville Sun. And going into the Class 6A Player of the Week for the Riddell Player of the Week, how about this one? I'm not sure a lot of people might be expecting it, but quarterback Maurice Underwood from Miami Central. I mean, Maurice had a heck of a game against Cardinal Gibbons. The senior quarterback led the Rockets from a 14-0 deficit to a 48-21 win over the Chiefs, going 15-12-27 for 321 yards and 3 touchdowns. And that is according to the Miami Herald. And coming in this thing is our Class 5A Riddell Player of the Week, Mike Weston from Nature Coast. He had a heck of a game and a very, very close loss to Ridgeview out of Orange Park. 30-27 was the score in that game, but Weston had 292 yards on the ground on 33 carries and scored 4 touchdowns. And again, it was a very close game, and that nomination came in from his head coach, Corey Johns at Nature Coast. So Mike Weston of Nature Coast, our Class 5A Riddell Player of the Week. Heading into Class 4A, Rob Kazaya from Cocoa is our Class 4A Riddell Player of the Week. Had 155 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns in Cocoa's 35-14 win over Palm Bay per Alan Slaughterzinski at the Space Coast Daily. I'll tell you what, guys, with all that right there, I mean, Cocoa had a heck of a ball game against Palm Bay, and actually Alan nominated several players, and Cocoa... He had some concerns about Cocoa, but Cocoa kind of erased those real quick and stuff. And actually, we're going to actually keep y'all updated. We've actually got one football game going on tonight right now in the third quarter right now, which has already seen some weather delays. Centennial is up 31-0 on Jensen Beach, and I believe that game's being played at South County Stadium in Port St. Lucie tonight. So, and again, they're just having this, that stadium's a shared stadium between Centennial and Treasure Coast, but I believe that is where they're playing at tonight. If I'm wrong, then I've got to double check, but I believe that game is actually at South County tonight in Port St. Lucie. So Centennial's up 31-0 on Jensen Beach, 3:13 left in the third quarter, according to John Santucci at the TC Palm. And going into our Class 3A Riddell Player of the Week, we've got running back Corey King out of Trinity Catholic in Ocala, rushed for 174 yards on 12 carries and scored 3 touchdowns, plus he also had a scoop and score on defense in the Celtics 42-0 thrashing of Bellevue, according to the Ocala Star Banner. And that article from the Ocala Star Banner, Richard Burton, and we'll actually hopefully have Richard Burton on here in a couple weeks once he releases his first. Hopefully it's going to be 2 books, but this is going to be the first one I know of, and it's going to be a great resource on the playoffs here in the Sunshine State, going all the way back to 1963 when they first started. Our Class 2A Riddell Player of the Week is defensive lineman Caleb Bowman from Trinity Christian out of Deltona. Helped pave the way for 282 yards rushing, collected 10 tackles on defense, and blocked a punt in a 34-6 victory over Bishop Snyder. That, according to the Daytona Beach News Journal. And our Class 1A Riddell Player of the Week is Hunter Kruger from Bozeman out of Panama City, which is actually the date line that the Panama City News Herald uses is Sand Hills, because it's actually not in Panama City limits. It's actually further out from Panama City in the north part of Bay County. But Hunter had 199 yards rushing on 8 carries, scoring 3 times from 63, 69, and 59 yards respectively, and a 43-7 win over Liberty County. So, again, just to recap real quick, our Riddell Players of the Week, we got quarterback Nick Saladinio from Vero Beach, our Class 8A Riddell Player of the Week. Our Class 7A Riddell Player of the Week is quarterback Jordan Smith from Columbia High in Lake City. Our Class 6A Riddell Player of the Week is quarterback Maurice Underwood from Miami Central. And our Class 5A Riddell Player of the Week is running back Mike Weston of Nature Coast out of Brooksville. Our Class 4A Riddell Player of the Week is running back Rob Kazaya from Cocoa. Our Class 3A Riddell Player of the Week is running back Corey King from Trinity Catholic out of Ocala. And then our Class 2A Player of the Week, Riddell Player of the Week, is offensive lineman, defensive line, Caleb Bullman from Trinity Christian out of Deltona. And then our Class 1A Riddell Player of the Week is running back Hunter Kruger out of Bozeman in Panama City. So those are our first 8 winners of our Riddell Player of the Week award. We'll have, again, next week. Here at the start of the show, as we were going to do each and every week, we'll have our Riddell Player of the Week for Week 2, and we'll keep going through Week 11. We're not going to do the playoffs with that, but we're just going to do it through the regular season, and then we may have something else afterwards, but I'm not going to reveal too much right now, but that's what we're doing right now. That's the fun part in this. This is really the fun part in all of it. We're having a lot of fun here. Again, it's Week 2 now. And we actually, and looking back at the Week 2 from the top 25 on that last week, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We had 9 teams go down. So 9 teams in the top 25 fell. 5 of the top 10 teams fell. One of the biggest, if I looked at other thing, I was a little shocked by Cardinal Gibbons losing the way they did. I thought, hey, they had a chance to win. That's why they were ranked number 3 to start out the season. I thought, hey, they're going to have a chance to beat Miami Central. That didn't happen. I actually had it right with Miami Carroll City over American Heritage, but the margin between Miami Carroll City and American Heritage Plantation, that kind of surprised me a little bit. I thought it may be a little bit closer, but 34-16 for Miami Carroll City. Miami Carroll City's the real deal. Larry Bluestein was hyping him up, and he's right. And I'm glad I maybe take a drink of the juice of that one with Carroll City, because I was a little hesitant at first about him, but here we are now. This is what it is. But Dr. Phillips is probably my biggest shocker of the week from last week. Going up to Lee County, Georgia, they're defending Class 6A state champion. This was a battle of state champions, defending Class 8A state champ here, Class 6A state champ in the GHSA for Georgia. And needless to say, Dr. Phillips got sacked 7-8 times in that ball game. And, they led 3-0 early on, and then it was not pretty. It was a 35-3 loss. And I'll talk to J.C. Carnahan about that with Dr. Phillips, thing, because, first, and to be honest with you, I put Dr. Phillips at 1, and that was an overrank right there. That was probably my biggest reach of the year, and I'll probably be eating crow for the rest of the season on that one. But with Dr. Phillips, they went from 1 to being out of the rankings real quick, so that's probably my first time I've ever had to do that. But hopefully, it might be the last. I don't want to have to ever do that again, drop a team from 1 all the way out. But hey, I own it to my mistakes. So there's that. So. Yeah, looking at it, and then looking at some of the other teams here, Chaminade Madonna, they lost a close one to Deerfield Beach, 13-10. Rains lost 16-15 to Robert E. Lee. Venice lost to Vero Beach, 42-20. Mockley was another shocker. Mockley probably might be bigger shocker than Dr. Phillips at the moment. Mockley lost to Golden Gate. Golden Gate's nowhere near the rankings, nowhere touching the rankings. Golden Gate has struggled for the last few years. They haven't made the playoffs in at least 5, 6, 7 years. I have to go back and look because it's been so long. Golden Gate hasn't been there. Mockley goes to Golden Gate, 37-8 loss. They're out of the top 25. That's how quick these things turn. And then, of course, Clay losing to Fleming Island, 27-20. That's a rivalry game. You can never put your finger on who's going to win that game each year, but a lot going on there with that. But we've got to do a break here in a moment. We're going to take a break, and then we're going to get Jeff Martin from X's and O's joining us here on the FloortoHSFootball.com radio show. We're going to talk the Freedom Bowl coming up. 6 games involving Sunshine State teams at the Freedom Bowl up in Milton High School in Georgia. Right outside Atlanta, Alpharetta. I believe I've got that right. Alpharetta, Georgia, right outside. So right at Milton High School in Milton, right there in Milton, Georgia, that near Alpharetta and Atlanta. It's going to be a great weekend. Labor Day weekend coming up. It's hard to believe we're actually about to go into the month of September come Saturday. College football starting up. We're already week 2 of high school football. This is great. All right, guys, we'll be back here in about 4 and a half minutes or so here on the FloydHSFootball.com radio show. We'll be right back right after this.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
The Florida Athletic Coaches Association has been the state's premier coaches association for high school coaches since 1936. From coaching clinics to all-star games for all Florida High School Athletic Association team sports, the Florida Athletic Coaches Association has something for all coaches to be involved with, from Pensacola to Key West. To inquire about membership, visit the Florida Athletic Coaches Association online at floridacoaches.org. That is floridacoaches.org. Legacy Team Sales is the official clothing sponsor of FloydHSFootball.com, serving the entire state of Florida with everything a team needs and beyond. From shirts to ball caps and from jerseys to promotional gear, Legacy Team Sales has it all, including embroidery and screen printing services. Visit them online at shoplts.com or visit their showroom and warehouse at 1417 Southwest 17th Street in Ocala between US 301 and State Road 200. FloydHSFootball.com is a proud media partner of the Florida High School 7v7 Association. The goal of the Florida High School 7v7 Association is to provide high school football teams around the state an association that complies with Florida High School Athletic Association bylaws and policies while being able to provide off-season training for their skilled position athletes. For teams interested in membership starting in January 2018, visit the Florida High School 7v7 Association online at fh7v7a.com.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
Legacy Team Sales is the official clothing sponsor of FloydHSFootball.com, serving the entire state of Florida with everything a team needs and beyond. From shirts to ball caps and from jerseys to promotional gear, Legacy Team Sales has it all, including embroidery and screen printing services. Visit them online at shoplts.com or visit their showroom and warehouse at 1417 Southwest 17th Street in Ocala between US 301 and State Road 200. The Florida Athletic Coaches Association has been the state's premier coaches association for high school coaches since 1936. From coaching clinics to all-star games for all Florida High School Athletic Association team sports, the Florida Athletic Coaches Association has something for all coaches to be involved with, from Pensacola to Key West. To inquire about membership, visit the Florida Athletic Coaches Association online at floridacoaches.org. That is floridacoaches.org.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
FloydHSFootball.com is a proud media partner of the Florida High School 7v7 Association. The goal of the Florida High School 7v7 Association is to provide high school football teams around the state an association that complies with Florida High School Athletic Association bylaws and policies while being able to provide off-season training for their skilled position athletes. For teams interested in membership starting in January 2018, visit the Florida High School 7v7 Association online at fh7v7a.com.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
All right, welcome back here to the FloydHSFootball.com radio show. Here on this Wednesday night of August 29, 2018. Josh Wilson here flying solo. Marty Palmer will hopefully be back next week. A lot going on week 2. Labor Day weekend is coming up here this weekend. A lot of high school football as we get into week 2 here, and as well as college football starting up. Hey, and then, of course, the next weekend, NFL gets into it. So we're back into football season here in the Sunshine State. And Getting ready to get our first guest of the night here in just a moment here, and we're going to talk about the Freedom Bowl here coming up here in Labor Day weekend in Atlanta, and I'm going to actually go ahead and get thing here in just a moment here, but a lot going on here. Of course, after all this, we've got the thing on Friday night. We got the FortHSFootball.com Friday night scoreboard, Friday night 10 to midnight, and then we'll have all your scores and updates on Thursday and Friday here on FortHSFootball.com. You can also follow us on social media and on Twitter at FLAHSFootball and on Facebook and Instagram at FloridaHSFootball. Getting ready to introduce our guest here. He is the Southeast. I'm going to get right here. He's the Southeast Scout for XOS Digital, and he's also part of the Freedom Bowl up in Atlanta, Georgia this weekend. Up actually right outside Atlanta, more towards the Alpharetta and Milton, Georgia. Jeff Martin from X's and O's. Appreciate you taking a few minutes, Jeff, to talk to us here about the Freedom Bowl. I mean, how's it going?
It's going great. Thanks for having me on, Josh.
No problem.
Something different than usual when we're talking about girls' flag football.
Right. Of course. Let me put the preface to Jeff. Jeff did coach girls flag football in Tallahassee for a while. Kind of helped got its footprint there in Tallahassee. Then went and moved on to better things. And of course, you see where he's at, X's and O's. And but Jeff, I appreciate you again and taking some time here. Let's talk about the Freedom Bowl this weekend. First, give the listeners some insight. How did the Freedom Bowl come about?
Well, Dave Menard had a 7-on-7 circuit called Arrow for the last few years and decided he wanted to put on some, marquee matchup football games during football season. And so he partnered with the Wounded Warriors and came up with the Freedom Bowl. And they're going to, showcase some of the best teams in the South going up there into Alpharetta, Georgia at Milton High School. And he just wanted to showcase the kids and get them involved with the Wounded Warriors. The kids and the coaches will be spending some time with Wounded Warriors, and they're going to have flyovers for the games, parachuters, bringing in game balls, fireworks, everything. It's pretty exciting for the whole. I mean, there's so much going on. They're going to have, basketball slam dunk competitions and stuff like that for the off time, and College Football Hall of Fame and all that kind of stuff. It's actually going to be a really exciting few days.
I mean, and with that, I believe there's 2 games Friday. There's going to be 4 games on Saturday. So, I believe Mainland and Bob Jones is going to kick that thing off, correct?
Yes, on Friday at 5 o'clock, it'll be Mainland versus Bob Jones from Alabama. Mainland is coming in losing. They lost to DeLand last week, so they'll be 0-1. But Bob Jones comes in. They beat a team from Tennessee last week in their first game, so it should be all pretty good matchups here.
And with that, what do you expect out of that first matchup with Mainland? Considering, again, to be honest with you, that the thing with loss to DeLand last week kind of surprised a lot of people. But at the same time. Mainland's down a couple of players right this second, so it's not helping them either.
Yeah, well, I had the luxury of coaching both at Mainland and DeLand back in the day, so it's a very storied rivalry between those two. So it's not always the better team that wins, and it's always a great matchup. It doesn't matter what the records are when they play each other; it's always going to be a great one. So I'm expecting a lot coming out of Mainland. Excuse me. And, Bob Jones is a very good Alabama team. They lost in the first round of state playoffs last year, going 8-4. They have some pretty good prospects. And, of course, so does Mainland. Mainland has a lot of team speed and everything, so it should be a great matchup.
Right there. And then looking at the Game 2 matchup here, actually, who should we watch in that Game 1 matchup, first of all?
Well, some of these teams have so many prospects to be watching that I spent some time today going over it and just picking out a couple of kids. Like Bob Jones has a senior defensive back, Jaden Hill, who has 35 plus Power 5 offers, and then they got a junior quarterback who has Caden Rose, who has a Nebraska offer. So they have some pretty good talent there, and of course Mainland. You can just pick, and choose which ones you want to pick, which ones have offers. And, I just want to give the big man, Travis Robinson, some love here. He's got offers from Florida, Missouri, UCF, FAU, Louisville. And then, being an ex-DB coach at Mainland, I picked Andrew Plummer, and he's committed to South Florida. So, but there's a ton of talent that's going to be on that field in that first game.
Wow, and that's the thing. And in game 2, which will be an 8:30 game between Cardinal Gibbons and the host Milton.
Yeah. This is the interesting thing about this. This will be Milton's third full game. So they've already played 2 games and plus a scrimmage. So, that's a little step above. Cardinal Gibbons has the kickoff classic, and then of course, they're lost to that powerhouse last week.
Miami Central, yeah. I mean, that's
yeah. So I mean, you can take what it is for both of them. I mean, they both lost in deep in the playoffs last year to very good teams. Of course, Gibbons to American Heritage in overtime, and and Milton lost to Brookwood, and they're the host school, and they don't have to worry about travel. That's for sure.
I mean, that's definitely a big advantage right there, and with that game, and of course that'll be an 8:30 kickoff on Friday night. So that game will probably still be going on when the Friday night scoreboard goes on air. So might have a few updates from that game from there. But looking at things, kickoffs early Saturday morning on September 1st, and you got the first game of the day is between Chaminade Madonna and Muscle Shoals out of Alabama. And Chaminade Madonna's coming off a loss last week, so I mean a very close loss to Deerfield Beach, so I'm sure that Muscle Shoals might be willing to be ready because the Lions are probably very angry right now. Yeah, Muscle Shoals, they opened their season up last week with a win, so they do have a little confidence going in, and of course Chaminade's got something to prove that they can come beat an Alabama team and put that game from last week behind them. But the Muscle Shoals, they're from way north Alabama, and they've always, year in and year out, put together some really good teams and make the playoffs almost every year. So they were 9-3 last year, and lost in the second round. They got some big time linebacker commits, and just like with Chaminade, there's so many dang players on that team that. With Power 5 offers, John Dunmore, the senior wide receiver, is committed to Penn State for Chaminade. And then Muscle Shoals has a junior linebacker that's committed, Jackson Bratton, who's committed to Alabama. So, there's going to be a ton of talent on that. I mean, there's not a shortage of talent anywhere with these games, that's for sure. That's definitely for sure. I mean, anything, and the next game, looking at the game 4, which will be a 1:30 kickoff on the thing, American Heritage out of Plantation versus St. Joseph's Regional out of New Jersey, and this is a thing. St. Joseph's a little bit familiar with these Florida teams. They've at least put one on the schedule the last few years. Here you go again, but this time, hey, they're not coming to Florida, they're coming to Georgia to play this game between both teams. And American Heritage is, I know that the Heritage right now, they're also another team that's very angry because they got slapped pretty silly by Carroll City last week, and that margin was not as close as what people would have thought it would have been.
Yeah, well, I saw Carroll City the first week up here in Tallahassee when they won 62-0 over Richard. So I've seen them live, and they're a special team. So. American Heritage has nothing to hang their hat, for that one because, they still got the rest of the season and everything. And I'm sure that this one right here is going to be a good test for them again. I think it's going to be a lot like, a team with athletes and things like that, to where it's going to be a lot like a Carroll City team. Maybe not as, talented as Carroll City because there aren't too many teams around that are as talented as they are. But they're bringing some, good players. I mean, they got, a senior defensive lineman / linebacker who's committed to Notre Dame, and then they got a junior offensive lineman that's committed to Ohio State. So they got some pretty good talent.
Yeah, looking at that, I mean that's going to be a good matchup no matter what with that game 4 at 1:30 on Saturday. But the game 5, the game 5 is going to be kind of special because in this way, because you got to remember Stoneman Douglas. Go back to February. This is kind of like somewhat a tribute to the honor of the 17 victims that tragically passed away in the school shooting at Stoneman Douglas in Parkland. but Stoneman Douglas, they're pushing forward. They're not trying to hang their hats on what happened in February. They got to know they got to move forward in memory of the three coaches that passed away, including Coach Fies and athletic director Chris Hickson. But on Saturday, 5:00, they're going to take on St. Matthews out of Ontario, Canada, and this is, I believe, is the first time ever we will have a Florida versus Canada matchup. It played anywhere in the country between a Florida team versus Canada. This is kind of interesting because I know that this game it took a little bit for y'all to get that one set up and the way to get it going.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people when they see that Canadian team, they're all like, "Well, how are they going to adjust to the American rules?" Well, there's a lot of Canadian teams that leagues that play by American rules. And there's some that play with the Canadian rules with the 55-yard line and all that kind of stuff. But this team is a talented team that's coming down here. Now, they lost one of their best players, a linebacker, moved down to Florida and went to a school over in Clearwater. And, he's got multiple Power 5 offers, so that's going to hurt them a little bit. But Douglas is coming in. It's something special for them, for everything that they've gone through. And there's going to be some special things that are done for them at the games that I can't reveal because it's going to be a surprise and stuff like that. So they're going to be really treated real well at this thing to, help the kids out and everything else. So
that's definitely.
But it should be a good matchup.
No, that's definitely something worth keeping the mind on right there, especially with that 5:00 matchup. But last but not least, in the matchups here, we're going to actually talk to Coach Bedesem from Wekiva here a little bit later on the show. But Wekiva and North Gwinnett, that's the game 6 at 8:30. That's a lot of people in the nation are kind of keeping an eye on that game because Wekiva's become a hot name in high school football in the Sunshine State the last couple of years, especially last year making that state semifinal run. I think Milton plays Friday night. This one, I think this is a good nightcap for y'all on Saturday night with this between North Gwinnett and Wekiva.
Yeah, when Dave called us to be a part of this, and we talked for a while. He said he wanted a couple more teams he needed from Florida, and if we had any idea. And of course, my first thought was Mainland because I coached there back in the day, and Dwight Thomas was with me, and he goes, I think Wekiva's looking for a game. So he called them and got them in, and as soon as Menard and I discussed all the matchups, I said, you got to put that North Gwinnett Wekiva game together and put that as the last game because that's going to be something special with those two teams. Because North Gwinnett won the state championship last year in the biggest class in Georgia. They beat Colquitt County. And, Wekiva, of course, lost to DP in the semis. And I mean, both of these teams just returning so much talent, and the only question North Gwinnett had coming into it was their quarterback, and they won their first game a week and a half ago. So, both of them are coming in at 1-0, and both of them have a bevy of talent. I mean, just looking at both of their rosters, it's like, you can just throw a stone and find a kid that's got Power 5 offers or committed to a Power 5 school. I mean, both these teams are pretty legit. It's going to be a great matchup.
I mean, all six of these matchups are going to be pretty great in terms of thing. I mean, the teams are. There's no bad team. Some people would try to look on an out of state schedule. It's like, okay, well, wait a second, which game doesn't make sense here? Well, no, all these games make sense. They're all going to be competitive matches, and we'll see. We'll see what happens if do all six Florida teams come back with W's, or does the out of state competition kind of have a little say so about this? We'll have to find out Friday and Saturday, but it's going to be six great games. That's all at Milton High School up in Milton, Georgia, right outside Atlanta. So we're kind of give it just the geographical area where you got to get to. So this is if you want to check out any of those games, get on up there.
Yeah, we and if any coaches or any coaches that aren't coaching in the game want to stop by, we're going to have our XO/Player Tech tents in the end zone. We'll have a little refreshments and food for any of the coaches in our VIP coaches tent for any of the coaches to come, hang out on the sidelines and come hang out under our tent and get out of that sun in the midday on Saturday. They're welcome to come by.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Jeff, I definitely appreciate you stopping by here for a few minutes. Have fun this weekend up there in Georgia.
Yeah, I will. I mean, it's already getting planned for next year. We've already got Burns out of South Carolina, Hoover in Alabama, Armwood committed for the game next year in Atlanta. We've Plants saying they want to go to there's going to be one in Ohio next year also, and they're asking, we're talking to them about Plant going up to Ohio. So it's gonna be some pretty good matchups next year too in two different states. So I'm really looking forward to this.
That'll be fun, and we'll definitely give it the exposure it needs because our teams definitely deserve it here. And again, a lot of our teams like to travel those out-of-state games in the first couple of weeks of the season. Here we go. Let's have it. And hey, maybe we can get one of the Freedom Bowls down here. We'll have to see about that.
Yep. So, but thanks for having me on, Josh.
No, appreciate it, Jeff. Have a great evening.
You too, man. All right.
All right, that was Jeff Martin. That was Jeff Martin from X's and O's here joining us to talk about the Freedom Bowl. A lot going on. Again, that is up at Milton High School in Milton, Georgia, just right outside Atlanta and Alpharetta. So that's kind of the geographical location of where y'all need to go. If that's where you want to go, you can actually visit the Freedom Bowl online at thefreedombowl.net, so you can get all your information about ticket prices and that stuff there, and as well with the 6-game schedule between all the teams: Daytona Beach Mainland, Cardinal Gibbons, Chaminade Madonna, Plantation American Heritage, Stoneman Douglas out of Parkland, and Wekiva. Those 6 teams from the Sunshine State are playing in Georgia this weekend at the Freedom Bowl. So a lot going on here. Coming up, our next guest will be Jeff Fisher from High School Football America. We'll talk about the High School Football America Top 100 National Rankings. A lot of Florida teams ranked this week. Some teams just jumped in, like Miami Carroll City made a big jump in this week. So we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about somehow the national rankings were. This is a returning favor to Jeff because I've been on many of Jeff's shows over the last few years. Now I get to do it for Jeff to have him come on my show. So we'll be back here in a few minutes here on the FloydHSFootball.com radio show. Keep it tuned in.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
The Florida Athletic Coaches Association has been the state's premier coaches association for high school coaches since 1936. From coaching clinics to all-star games for all Florida High School Athletic Association team sports, the Florida Athletic Coaches Association has something for all coaches to be involved with, from Pensacola to Key West. To inquire about membership, visit the Florida Athletic Coaches Association online at floridacoaches.org. That is floridacoaches.org. Legacy Team Sales is the official clothing sponsor of FloydHSFootball.com, serving the entire state of Florida with everything a team needs and beyond. From shirts to ball caps and from jerseys to promotional gear, Legacy Team Sales has it all, including embroidery and screen printing services. Visit them online at shoplts.com or visit their showroom and warehouse at 1417 Southwest 17th Street in Ocala between US 301 and State Road 200. FloydHSFootball.com is a proud media partner of the Florida High School 7v7 Association. The goal of the Florida High School 7v7 Association is to provide high school football teams around the state an association that complies with Florida High School Athletic Association bylaws and policies while being able to provide off-season training for their skilled position athletes. For teams interested in membership starting in January 2018, visit the Florida High School 7v7 Association online at fh7v7a.com.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
Legacy Team Sales is the official clothing sponsor of FloridaHSFootball.com, serving the entire state of Florida with everything a team needs and beyond. From shirts to ball caps and from jerseys to promotional gear, Legacy Team Sales has it all, including embroidery and screen printing services. Visit them online at shoplts.com or visit their showroom and warehouse at 1417 Southwest 17th Street in Ocala between US 301 and State Road 200. The Florida Athletic Coaches Association has been the state's premier coaches association for high school coaches since 1936. From coaching clinics to all-star games for all Florida High School Athletic Association team sports, the Florida Athletic Coaches Association has something for all coaches to be involved with from Pensacola to Key West. To inquire about membership, visit the Florida Athletic Coaches Association online at floridacoaches.org. That is floridacoaches.org.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
FloridaHSFootball.com is a proud media partner of the Florida High School 7v7 Association. The goal of the Florida High School 7v7 Association is to provide high school football teams around the state an association that complies with Florida High School Athletic Association bylaws and policies while being able to provide off-season training for their skilled position athletes. For teams interested in membership starting in January 2018, visit the Florida High School 7v7 Association online at fh7v7a.com.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
All right, welcome back here to the FloridaHSFootball.com radio show. Remember, you can listen to us online directly at FloridaHSFootball.com, FloridaHSFootball.com/live. That's not only for this show, but for the Friday night scoreboard. You can also download the Spreaker app, that is SPREAKER app on your Android or iOS device, and then search FloridaHSFootball.com, and you can listen to us that way each and every week on our shows, and you can actually chat with us as well. So if you got something to say, download the app and chat with us. Simple as that. Or Twitter, you can follow us on Twitter at FLHSFootball and say something as well. And a lot of other cool things going on. And of course, social media. Let me finish that with the social media. We've got on Florida HS Football at Florida HS Football on Facebook and Instagram. So that's where you can find us there on social media. And getting ready for our next guest here. We're kind of just a couple minutes behind, but hey, we're flowing with things here. We've got a lot going on. He is the founder and editor-in-chief of High School Football America. You can follow High School Football America on Twitter at HSFB America, and you can follow Jeff Fisher as well on Twitter at Jeff Fisher Media. Jeff, it is finally the time to return to favor. You are here. I am the host. You're the guest this time. Welcome to the show, man. It is great to have you here.
Well, you know what? It's great to be here, I love what you do. And, yeah, it's kind of neat to have the tables turned here. Hopefully I do as well with your questions as you do with mine.
Well, Jeff, you've been doing this now, is this now the 5th year for the High School Football America rankings, the way you do it? Is this, correct me if I'm wrong, because I think this is like year 5. I remember it's been a while now since you started this, and when you first started it, you turned some heads with it, and now people are getting accustomed to it now that these rankings are here.
Yeah, well, I'm not correcting you, but I'll correct you. It is now year number 6.
Holy
and you
cow.
are correct. Yeah, time flies when you're having fun or getting yelled at for national rankings. But, we started in 2013, as you remember, with the algorithm. And I think you were polite about that. Turned some heads, had some people yelling at us. But I will say one thing about you, Josh, and I love what you do at FloridaHSFootball.com. You have always been one of the biggest supporters supporters of us and pointing out it's not an opinion poll, it's an algorithm, which means it's a computer ranking, which means I do not put my opinion into it.
No, and that's the big difference right there. And I mean, of course, there's a couple other computer polls out there, but this one's getting a lot more exposure compared to other computer polls out there now. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think USA Today is not even running a computer poll this year, which I'm actually a bit shocked when I found that out. I'm like, whoa, wait a second here, what? No more computer poll? It's just now the Super 25 with Jim Haley. So that's the difference right there. We've had some kind of retraction and addition and so to speak over the last few years with national rankings. But let's talk more about your rankings. How did this come about in 2013 to create a ranking system using a proprietary algorithm that you put your mind to in doing this?
Yeah, and again, it was nothing against what the others were not doing right. I just felt there was a way to do it a little bit better. And, like I've got my nose so deep into the sport and the love of the sport and promoting the sport and the coaches and the players and schools and communities that I just said, there's got to be a better way to do this. So I just sat down after the 2012 season, which was really the first time we did a national ranking. It was an opinion poll. And I looked at it and I said, there's got to be a better way to do this. So I basically, looked at certain things that I know after 40 years of covering the sport that should be considered when ranking teams. And I started putting numbers down and inputting numbers, and all of a sudden it started coming out. And I said, well, do I have the guts to put this out to the public? That's the biggest thing. And we were joking in the break there that you got to have the guts and a thick skin. Guts one thing, thick skin another, because then you got to put up with the people yapping in your ear. But we just gave it a shot, and it came out. And as and again, you hopped on first and foremost and said, because it was Booker T, right?
Right.
The behemoth from Miami. We didn't rank him number one. We had Allen as our national champs, and a lot of people had a problem with that. But to your credit, you just hopped in there and said, hey, look, here's what he did, here's how he did it, and, don't come down on him. It's not his opinion. So thank you again. I keep saying, complimenting you, but I'm on your show, so I have to.
Yeah, but it's called strength of schedule here, and a lot of people don't realize this.
Yes.
Even when I do my own rankings here, it's like I have to look at what's going on. I mean, I have to look at what's coming ahead down the track for these teams, because if there's a chance that I feel like this team is not going to make it this week. I mean, it's going to be hard for me to really rank them very high just because of the thing. But that's the way opinion poll works. Now, on a ranking like yours, it doesn't matter who they're playing. What's what the computer is spitting out at you at that particular moment,
exactly.
After week through the season.
Yeah, and the one thing that we do try to do with the algorithm, and again, I do not know what Max does with the Freeman rankings or the Massey rankings that USA Today used to use. I really don't know what they do in it. But what I can tell you that I think might be different, because I do obviously look at what everybody's doing. I mean, you can't live in a bubble, but I try to extrapolate what will happen through the season. The hardest thing, and you and I have talked about this offline so many times, is when you put out a preseason poll. Quite honestly, as I told you, I don't like preseason polls. There's no way for an algorithm to do it properly. Carroll City, great example of that, right? But the information that we've used, you just kind of take a shot at it, and you do anger people. But at the end of the day, we do it for the fans. The fans want it, so we do it. I would much rather, wait. Now, remember, Texas doesn't even start till this coming week, right? So we've got states that have played 2 games heading into this weekend already. Right. So I would prefer to do it Labor Day, and I think, if memory serves me correctly, in 2014 we did a preseason, and we waited till Labor Day to put out our first in season, and people went nuts. And I don't mean nuts in a good way.
That's right there is the challenges of some of that in rankings, and it's just not only for computer rankings, it goes for opinion rankings as well. It's a challenge, because I'll tell you, even with my preseason, I mean I admitted several times tonight, and I'll admit it again here. I had Dr. Phillips sitting at number 1 in 8A. Well, of course, okay, my logic to defending state champ, they might not have shown their full hand against Kissimmee Osceola in the kickoff classic. Okay, you're going to play Lee County, Georgia. Yeah, I get it. You don't want to show your full hand to Lee County, Georgia on video because you don't want them knowing everything. Well, then they go to Lee County and they get sacked 7 times. Well, then, I mean, that was the quickest from 1 to 8 to out of the rankings real quick. I have never done that, taking a team from 1 to out. But I said that was it was so embarrassing. I could not justify keeping Dr. Phillips. I put him honorable mention, but that's the way it works. Right. But I mean, just looking at these rankings, I mean, I think even in looking at it, I know we've talked about this many times offline, but I think I'll go ahead and bring it into the fold of the show where it's in the public knowledge now. I think a lot of people don't want to see IMG Academy ranked as a thing because there's that notion of, okay, that IMG Academy, they get to recruit from 49 states. I mean, people are like, that's not fair, and they're not they can't play for a state championship here. The FHA won't let them. That's a fine sealed deal agreement, people. That will never happen here. So just rest assured, IMG is not playing for state championship. But the fact of them being nationally ranked, you know, some people are like, oh, okay, whatever, and some are like, no, this shouldn't be because they are they're not a traditional high school by any means. They're it's an all-star team with they got two teams. Basically, and that's the national one that we're talking about. A lot of people are like throwing up their hands. I mean, for you, I think that's been a challenge for you as well, I believe, correct?
Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, I have debated it time and time again, and probably 88 more times again. Like you said, you and I have had many conversations offline about this. You know, and it's difficult for me for one reason, which I think we've talked about, is, you know, I like, you know, Kevin Wright. I knew his dad, you know, when his dad, who's the winningest coach in Indiana, was the coach at Sheridan, a tiny town outside of Indianapolis, and I know what he did at Carmel. But at the end of the day, you know, what you stated there is all accurate. Here's what I did do, though, when I started looking at the algorithm, because let's face it, IMG is playing all of the teams that we're familiar with in the top, you know, 25, top 100, whatever the size of the ranking is, right? You know, you've got the Hoovers on the schedule. You know, all these teams that they play. They've got Mater Dei, our number 1 team this year, and all that. So what I did was I kind of went through and I said, well, what if I pull them out, right? What if I pull them out? Well, then it impacts everybody else. Is it an equal impact? You know, I could argue it either way with inside my brain, but then what I really did was I went to coaches that I respect from all of the big power states, from Florida to California to Pennsylvania to Ohio, and I said, what do you think? And while they all say the same thing, gee, we wish they wouldn't recruit from 49 states, they all said, you know what, Jeff, if you knock them out, then you got to pull out Mater Dei. Because let's face it, how many transfers did they get in? You got to pull out St. John Bosco. You've got to pull out St. Thomas Aquinas. You know, I can start dropping names all over the country. St. Ed's out of Ohio, all the New Jersey biggies.
So it becomes one big mess at that particular point.
Yeah, so what do? Do you do a private public ranking? We do that at the end of the year. I mean, if you look at the rankings, here's the way I look at it. If you look at if it's the High School Football America 100, the Max Preps Excellent 25, the USA Today Super 25, you see where the privates are, you see where the publics are. If your public school that you're proud of is number 3 and there's 2 privates in front of you, they're number 1 public school. And at the end of the day, really, it's about having fun. It's about creating conversation. But I empathize with the people that are just up in arms about it. But I will tell you this, one of the prerequisites, one of the big things in the High School Football America 100, one of the points of light, criteria in the algorithm is you have to win. If you win a state championship, it helps you. So you can take from that what you want, but I think you might be hearing what I'm saying. So the fact that
I hear you. That definitely that tells me something right there. Can IMG finish number 1? It's probably a very, very tough chance.
Come on, you're giving away secrets.
Nah, no, but it's not impossible. That's what we're saying. It's not impossible.
No, Here's the deal. They've got a game against Mater Dei, who is definitively, one of the 5 to 6 best teams in the country. And if they beat them, there is going to be something that happens in there. But ultimately, head-to-head still counts a lot, but at the end of the day, you still should win a state championship. And as I said back in 2013, because you called me up and you said, Jeff, how does this work? What are you thinking? And at that point, as you get deeper into the season, meaning the playoffs, and you start beating teams, that definitely carries more weight in what you're doing. So, that's where it is. But I will tell you this, you're right. If IMG beats Mater Dei, that gives them a leg up. But then again, now you got St. John Bosco out in Southern California, same league as Mater Dei, so what if they run the table? Well, a state championship carries weight. Everyone that wins a state championship should be credited with that and the significance of that event.
I definitely agree with you on that. Now, looking at some of these other teams that we've got from the Sunshine State here, just going down the list, looking at the list, Miami Central, they're right there, right in the thick of the top 15 teams. St. Thomas Aquinas, up to number 15 this week, and they for St. Thomas Aquinas, they played DeMatha on national TV on Saturday night. And
looked good.
They looked really, really solid. And I said, when I talked to Roger Harriet back at the Dolphins Media Day earlier this month down in Miami Gardens, I said, look. I just looked at it. I'm like, when he stood there, and I was sitting there thinking in my mind, here you go. This team, the roster's loaded. Venice lost a lot for the Venice being the defending state champion in 7A. I said, hey, Aquinas, if they're too stacked on Division I quarterbacks like that, that's gonna be really tough to beat a team like that. And sure enough, they gave DeMatha all a run for their money, and shut them out on national TV. Which I was actually kind of surprised, but I'm like, okay, this might be a little competitive battle. But I thought, okay, Aquinas was going to come out on the end, but here we are. St. Thomas Aquinas pulls a 38-0 shutout on ESPN2, and I just like, okay. That's not what we were expecting at all.
No, but at the end of the day, and I know that when we brought out our rankings, we had some people that we all know and love down your way just kind of saying, well, Jeff, what the heck are you doing? And I said, of course, I always fall back on A, it's not an opinion. B, I only do it for the fans. And C, you guys play some of the best football statewide, right? But, South Florida.
South Florida
South
Florida football is a whole different animal, and let's just admit it. And that's the thing. And it's one of these animals that you have to admit that. You take the Tri-County area from Palm Beach County down to Miami-Dade. You remove them, and you've got the other 60-some counties in the state of Florida. Hey, that Tri-County area alone. That's just. It's like a state of itself, and you have to admit that. You can't, if you deny it. What kind of football fan are you? I have to admit it.
Right, and I do admit it, but I also point out, because I have watched games personally, and it'll be when I go to Alabama this year, it'll be 20 different states. But the bottom line is, for everybody that loves South Florida football, I'll tell you, people in Southern California that absolutely adore what they do in Southern California. And for the people in Western Pennsylvania, they love it. And the people in Cincinnati love what they do. And the list goes on and on. So, what we try and do is achieve, some balance in there. You can't have 10 California teams at the top or 10 Florida teams at the top or whatever. You got to have a little bit of fun with it. But at the end of the day, what I love right now for the algorithm, more so than in 2013, is we get those interstate matchups. I heard you talking about the Freedom Bowl coming up, here in Georgia, outside of Atlanta and all that. Those make the algorithm a little bit better, right? Because now we can at least say, well, there are some of these great teams in each and every state going head-to-head.
Right, and that's a good thing about that. And of course, right now I'm talking to you from Atlanta, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm in Buckhead, which is Atlanta. It's just north of there. But I've been loving the heck out of seeing some of the talent here. And what's great, again, these interstate matchups. And I know we all love our states, right? I'm originally from Pennsylvania. I love Pennsylvania football. But and just like you love Florida and all that, but I love more than anything going around to these various areas as I've become a gypsy in my life, I guess, from Pennsylvania to Chicago to Atlanta to California to Chicago, all over, and now in Atlanta. And what I will say about all of that is the sport of football, in spite of everyone trying to bring it down, is healthy. It's still the fabric of communities, and yes, there are problems, but everything's being made for that. And I just absolutely love it. So I'm what I'm jacked about, the matchup between St. Joe's out of my Jersey area up there in the Northeast taking on American Heritage. I know they took a little bit of a bump there from Carroll City, but boy, I'm looking for Jersey versus Sunshine State. That should be a dandy on Saturday.
That definitely will be a dandy. St. Joseph Regional, you got number 18 right now in the High School Football America Top 100. American Heritage number 76, so that'll be a good matchup. I mean, looking at some of these other teams, of course, you said Carroll City. They were all the way with 127, and they made a very big jump this week into number 60. I mean, that's a huge for them.
Yeah, it is, and again, going back to what I was saying earlier, it's so hard to handicap the preseason. And at the end of the day, I'm sure there's people in South Florida, because I know where they're ranking your, top 25 and all that, saying, well, you're off the mark. Well, we might be, but here's what I'll say. The algorithm, and again, you're a big supporter of this, the algorithm is designed to evaluate what's happening on the field. So as we get 3 to 4 weeks in, everything sorts its way out. And last year, I can only use last year as I can go back, but I did the little analogy last year. Out of our preseason 100, 62 of the teams ended up in the final 100. So from preseason to just before Christmas, 2 days before Christmas, that's where we ended up. So the algorithm generally does its job, and that's what we're most proud about. And I think, when you said at the beginning about the computer rankings aren't being done as much, I think we've now kind of gotten to a point where everybody's like, okay, Jeff's got something here that's right. Now I got to keep being good each and every year. But at the end of the day, we're proud about the numbers. And, I'm really proud that at the end of the day, we're promoting teams, and we're promoting schools and communities and coaches and all that. And, let's face it, Florida's got 12 teams in our top 100. Could they have 15? Could they have 16? Certainly. But, when it comes down to who are the top 2 states, I rank teams every year, states every year at the beginning of the year. And this year, Texas and Florida are just like minuscule, thousandths of a % apart. So it's like Texas and Florida interchangeable, and then Georgia. So let's face it, the Southeast. So when Georgia's playing Florida this weekend, my, oh my, you're going to find out who plays the best football. And if you don't find out who's playing the best, you're going to see a heck of a game.
Oh, definitely, indeed. Well, Jeff, looking at the thing, but you can actually visit Jeff Fisher's rankings on High School Football America at highschoolfootballamerica.com. Jeff, appreciate you stopping by. We'll definitely have you on probably again later on in the season as we get closer to the national champs being crowned. It'll be very interesting to watch these rankings go up and down during the season here. Again, highschoolfootballamerica.com, and you can follow Jeff on Twitter at HSFB America and at Jeff Fisher Media. So that's how you can find them.
Well, Josh, thank you as always. As I've always said, I really respect everything you do. It is not easy to cover an entire state that loves its football like it does. And just thank you for having me on, and appreciate your friendship. I
definitely appreciate it, Jeff. Have a good one.
Take care.
Take care. That was Jeff Fisher from High School Football America joining us here on the FloydHSFootball.com radio show. And we're going to take a quick break here, and once we come back, we're going to have Rich Bedesem from Wekiva High School join us here. His Wekiva Mustangs are very hot right now, and we're going to talk some Mustang football, and then we'll have J.C. Carnahan from the Orlando Sentinel after that. And then we'll wrap things up, so that's kind of the setting the table for this next hour here. All right, you're listening to the FloydHSFootball.com radio show right here on FloydHSFootball.com and on the Spreaker app. We'll be right back right after this.
sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
The Florida Athletic Coaches Association has been the state's premier coaches association for high school coaches since 1936. From coaching clinics to all-star games for all Florida High School Athletic Association team sports, the Florida Athletic Coaches Association has something for all coaches to be involved with from Pensacola to Key West. To inquire about membership, visit the Florida Athletic Coaches Association online at floridacoaches.org. That is floridacoaches.org. Legacy Team Sales is the official clothing sponsor of FloridaHSFootball.com, serving the entire state of Florida with everything a team needs and beyond. From shirts to ball caps and from jerseys to promotional gear, Legacy Team Sales has it all, including embroidery and screen printing services. Visit them online at shoplts.com or visit their showroom and warehouse at 1417 Southwest 17th Street in Ocala between US 301 and State Road 200. FloridaHSFootball.com is a proud media partner of the Florida High School 7v7 Association. The goal of the Florida High School 7v7 Association is to provide high school football teams around the state an association that complies with Florida High School Athletic Association bylaws and policies while being able to provide off-season training for their skilled position athletes. For teams interested in membership starting in January 2018, visit the Florida High School 7v7 Association online at fh7v7a.com.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
Legacy Team Sales is the official clothing sponsor of FloridaHSFootball.com, serving the entire state of Florida with everything a team needs and beyond. From shirts to ball caps and from jerseys to promotional gear, Legacy Team Sales has it all, including embroidery and screen printing services. Visit them online at shoplts.com or visit their showroom and warehouse at 1417 Southwest 17th Street in Ocala between US 301 and State Road 200. The Florida Athletic Coaches Association has been the state's premier coaches association for high school coaches since 1936. From coaching clinics to all-star games for all Florida High School Athletic Association team sports, the Florida Athletic Coaches Association has something for all coaches to be involved with from Pensacola to Key West. To inquire about membership, visit the Florida Athletic Coaches Association online at floridacoaches.org. That is floridacoaches.org.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
FloridaHSFootball.com is a proud media partner of the Florida High School 7v7 Association. The goal of the Florida High School 7v7 Association is to provide high school football teams around the state an association that complies with Florida High School Athletic Association bylaws and policies while being able to provide off-season training for their skilled position athletes. For teams interested in membership starting in January 2018, visit the Florida High School 7v7 Association online at fh7v7a.com.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
All right, welcome back here to the FloridaHSFootball.com radio show. Here on FloridaHSFootball.com, you can listen to us each and every week with our shows. Not only this show, the radio show, but the Friday night scoreboard at FloridaHSFootball.com/live. And it's week 2 of the high school football season here in the Sunshine State. We had talked to Jeff Martin from X's and O's a little while ago about the Freedom Bowl coming up here up in Milton High School in Georgia, just right outside the Atlanta metro there in Georgia. And again, we're about ready to have our next guest on, and he's actually the head coach of one of the hottest teams in the Sunshine State right now, and we're bringing him on. head coach Rich Bedesem from the Wekiva Mustangs. This is his third season at Wekiva. I mean, Wekiva had a big season last year, coming off a state semifinal appearance. Coach, I appreciate you taking a few minutes of your busy schedule to join me here and talk about your Mustangs. Coach, I appreciate it again. I mean, it's a pleasure to have you on.
Thanks, Josh. Good to be on.
Yeah, definitely. Gotta just give us a little bit of your coaching background. You were first head coach at Edgewater. You were there for a couple years, and you got the Wekiva job. Just kind of give us a background of where you started at and how you got things going in your coaching career.
Yeah, so my grandpa was a lifelong coach, and my dad coached back in Pennsylvania. My grandpa was actually a head coach at Villanova and a couple small colleges and local high schools. So, ever since I was little, I was brought up in football. I ended up playing football at the University of Virginia in college. After I was done playing, I went back and I did 2 years as a graduate assistant for Coach Groh. And then he took me to Georgia Tech with him for a year, actually. So I did 2 years of Virginia, 1 year at Georgia Tech before I came down to Florida, to get back into high school coaching. So, started at Edgewater, and then a couple years later came over to Wekiva.
And I know you I believe that if it was correct, you followed your AD that was at Edgewater, went to Wekiva. She went to Wekiva with you at the same time, kind of near. Was that kind of how it went?
Correct. The AD and principal actually at Edgewater. They both moved to Wekiva when I was still at Edgewater. So they were there before I got there. But then when that job opened up and I had an opportunity to go work with them again, that's how it kind of worked out.
So it's been kind of nice. Now, kind of just explain, because a lot of people are like, okay, where's Wekiva at? Where's the thing? They have no idea. Well, okay, it's a school on the south end of Apopka. That's where I start to tell them. It's like, oh, they start to realize it. But y'all have put the school on the map itself, and I believe just recently y'all had it was season 10 for the school, and now here y'all are. Played in the state semifinal last year. What were the expectations coming into for year 3 as a head coach with Wekiva?
You know what? The first year coming in, it was kind of just set the expectations of the program. Get to know the kids, get them to learn how I expect practice to run and the off season to run. And I think we're a little bit above schedule that first year. And then last year, obviously, we turned the corner, beat Apopka, beat Dr. Phillips in the regular season, beat some big programs. So. And then my seniors this year were all sophomores when I took over. So it's nice, them knowing the expectations, them knowing how to practice, and kind of police them themselves. And it allows me and my coaches really to do a little bit more of the coaching part of it and less of the other stuff.
And with all of that, because y'all are still considered new kids of block in the city of Apopka and the way people look at it, how have you been able to kind of try to in that thing? I guess I would say the way I'm looking for it, the way I want to state it is that you to change the mindsets of people to realize, hey, we're going to be just as good as our rival Apopka or not better. How did you get that to really establish that?
It started the first year. I mean. Before I took over, not only has Wekiva hadn't beat Apopka, but the scores were pretty drastic, 60 points, 50 points. 1 year it was 84-20. So I don't think that, the kids had a good belief, but that first year, we lost by 7 and it was a tie game in the fourth quarter. So, we had a chance to win that game. And I think ever since that game, the kids started believing that they could compete with them and, building and working all off season and then finally beating them at their place last year. I think that started to, change. Not only, I think the mindsets of the kids were already changed, but it kind of changed perception from everybody else around the area, about Wekiva and, that it's a little bit more than just Wekiva's, Apopka's steps, child.
And the redheaded stepchild analogy is what people would want to put it, I think, maybe in that sense. But in all of that, looking ahead, looking at the thing, y'all beat Jones last week 17-3. I know that was probably a defensive battle for y'all in that game. But looking at this week, I think y'all are facing probably what I would say probably even tougher than what y'all played Dr. Phillips twice last year, the toughest challenge that Wekiva's going to ever face in their school history up to date. playing North Gwinnett at the Freedom Bowl up in Milton High School in Georgia. I mean, first, how did that game come about for y'all in that sense? How did y'all get this game to be on the schedule?
I talked to my principal when we were at Edgewater, my first year down there. When I was an assistant coach, we went up and played Grayson in Atlanta, and we had a pretty good team. We had Carl Joseph, who was playing for the Oakland Raiders right now, and Alton Howard, who played at Tennessee. So we had a pretty good team. We went down there. It was a great experience for the kids. We got to stop by Georgia Tech since I knew some of the coaches. They got to tour the facilities, and it was just a great overall experience for our team. And our principal, we were talking in the offseason. She said, I would love to do a game like that. And I reached out to a couple people and, got contacted by, the representatives of Freedom Bowl, and they said, we're looking to do this 6-game event. You don't know who you're going to play, but we're going to bring in, some of the top talent. So we signed on without even knowing who we were playing. And, a month or two later is, when they came out with the matchup. So we knew we were getting into, playing somebody good, but obviously playing someone like North Gwinnett, they were the 7-8 champs last year in Georgia. They returned 17 starters from that team. And watching them on tape, like you had just alluded to, this will be the best team that we played last year, this year. I mean, they are, they're well coached and they have guys on both sides of the football.
I mean, that's the thing, and we were talking right before we came on that you mentioned to me that for a lot of your athletes on your roster, this is going to be their first time going out of state, going to a trip like this. So, I mean, what is it like for them getting ready for this to go up there and play the nightcap game against North Gwinnett?
Yeah, I don't know if they really understand, the full magnitude of it yet. I don't think that will probably really hit them until we get down there. I've been, trying to tell them all season. I was actually on a conference call last night with the Freedom Bowl, and like everything that they're doing for the kids is going to be like a college atmosphere with all the sponsors and Gatorade and Battle and everything that's going to go about. There's going to be a luncheon on Friday that we're going to be at, and then a little bit of competition. We'll get to see some of the other games Friday night before we go back to the hotel. So, like I was telling someone last night, we have a lot of kids on our team that are going to go play college football. Some of them already committed. Some of them have a good idea where they're going. But, for the kids that may never play football again, this, might be one of the best experiences they have, going out of state, playing in a big game like this, getting treated like a college player. So I think it's really going to be good for everybody.
I mean, that's great. I mean, that's a great way to have it, to be able to go do something like this and experience that. For some of your thing, let's talk about some of your players. I mean, who are the guys that everybody should be watching right now for your Mustangs? Who should we be watching? Tell the listeners what they really need to know.
Yeah, well, defensively, we have a lot of guys back from last year. We've had a really good defense now for a couple of years. So I think our defense is, that's how we play football. We try to, not turn the ball over and play really good defense, and we feel like we could be in some games. So starting with the front, Tyler Davis, he's been a mainstay in there since he's a freshman. He's going to be a load in the middle. He plays nose guard for us. We run a 3-4, so he's in the middle, and he anchors the whole defense. And then on both sides of him, we have two really good players. Riddell Player, who's committed to Virginia Tech, great quickness and great use of his hands, and then Ariane Lowe on the other side of him. So this is, the front three are really good. And then going back to the linebackers, Ryan Davis, who's committed to Georgia right now, he's a freakish athlete. He's, 6'3", 225, and he could run, rush the passer. He could drop back and pass. He's real versatile. We have James Lynch in the middle. He's more of your old school Mike linebacker. He's thick. He's sideline to sideline and makes all the tough plays in the middle. And then in the secondary, we have Vernal Malcolm Green, who's committed to Florida State. And he's at corner, and Brandon Hill at safety, who's committed to Pittsburgh. There are guys that have been back there for a couple of years also. Offensively, we have Terrence Moore back, who's one of our speedy receivers. He averaged about 30 yards a catch last year. We have Malik Tolbert, who's a big wide receiver on the outside. He's already had, since, we've had a little official scrimmage plus the last 2 weeks, he's already had 5 touchdowns in those 3 weeks. So he's really good. And then we have a tight end / slot receiver, Jalen Williams, who's only a junior, but he's 6'7", and he's a basketball player also. So he's a big target for our quarterback, Sean Robles. And he's, started and played a little bit last year. And he's, 6'5", prototypical drop back quarterback. And he's, even though he's a senior, he's still developing because it's really only his 5th, 6th game starting. So we expect him to progress as the season goes.
Definitely, indeed, and that's a lot right there for y'all with your talent and stuff. I mean, that's quite a bit right there, and all that. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to go play. You got to go play a state champ in Georgia, and I mean, that's the battle for y'all. Is you got to be ready and got a thing. And I'm sure that the thing. Now, are y'all going to actually go up there a day ahead of time, or are you going to go up there Saturday morning? How's the travel itinerary going to work out for y'all?
Yeah, we're actually leaving Friday morning real early. We're leaving at 5 a.m. Friday morning, and we're going to get down there around 1 o'clock, and there's a luncheon for all 12 teams involved. So we'll be a part of that. And then there's the 6 teams that play the later games, including us, will stay, and they'll do a battle sponsoring it. So the kids are going to get some gear. There's a little quarterback competition and slam dunk thing that that the other schools and us will compete against. Have a little fun. And then the military, they're going to have someone speak from the military to the kids, which will be good, the Freedom Bowl and, what it means to them. So they'll get a little bit of everything that Friday. We'll go back, check into the hotel, let the kids hang out and get with each other for a little bit. And then we'll go out to dinner together and then go over to the stadium and catch, maybe a half of 2 different games. Just, get the atmosphere of the games, see some other teams play. There's a couple other Florida teams playing. So it should be a great time for the kids. Like I said, it'll be a great experience for them to get out of state, but it's also a good time for them to bond and, to grow as a team, this weekend.
Definitely. Well, it sounds like y'all are gonna. You got everything lined up. Y'all are gonna have a lot of fun. I definitely wish y'all the best of luck. Go out and go get that W and bring it back home to Florida.
All right, sounds good, Josh.
Appreciate it, Coach. Have a great weekend and best of luck again. Definitely appreciate you joining us here. All right, that was Coach Rich Bedesem from Wekiva High School joining us here on the FloridaHSFootball.com radio show. We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we are going to have J.C. Carnahan from the Orlando Sentinel, and just a quick update from our one game tonight, our rare Wednesday game. Centennial, Port St. Lucie Centennial shuts out Jensen Beach 38-0, according to John Santucci of the TC Palm. We'll be right back right here on the FloorHSFootball.com Gridiron Report here in about 4 minutes.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
The Florida Athletic Coaches Association has been the state's premier coaches association for high school coaches since 1936. From coaching clinics to all-star games for all Florida High School Athletic Association team sports, the Florida Athletic Coaches Association has something for all coaches to be involved with, from Pensacola to Key West. To inquire about membership, visit the Florida Athletic Coaches Association online at floridacoaches.org. That is floridacoaches.org. Legacy Team Sales is the official clothing sponsor of FloridaHSFootball.com, serving the entire state of Florida with everything a team needs and beyond. From shirts to ball caps and from jerseys to promotional gear, Legacy Team Sales has it all, including embroidery and screen printing services. Visit them online at shoplts.com or visit their showroom and warehouse at 1417 Southwest 17th Street in Ocala between US 301 and State Road 200. FloridaHSFootball.com is a proud media partner of the Florida High School 7v7 Association. The goal of the Florida High School 7v7 Association is to provide high school football teams around the state an association that complies with Florida High School Athletic Association bylaws and policies while being able to provide off-season training for their skilled position athletes. For teams interested in membership starting in January 2018, visit the Florida High School 7v7 Association online at fh7v7a.com.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
Legacy Team Sales is the official clothing sponsor of FloridaHSFootball.com, serving the entire state of Florida with everything a team needs and beyond. From shirts to ball caps and from jerseys to promotional gear, Legacy Team Sales has it all, including embroidery and screen printing services. Visit them online at shoplts.com or visit their showroom and warehouse at 1417 Southwest 17th Street in Ocala between US 301 and State Road 200. The Florida Athletic Coaches Association has been the state's premier coaches association for high school coaches since 1936. From coaching clinics to all-star games for all Florida High School Athletic Association team sports, the Florida Athletic Coaches Association has something for all coaches to be involved with from Pensacola to Key West. To inquire about membership, visit the Florida Athletic Coaches Association online at floridacoaches.org. That is floridacoaches.org.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
FloridaHSFootball.com is a proud media partner of the Florida High School 7v7 Association. The goal of the Florida High School 7v7 Association is to provide high school football teams around the state an association that complies with Florida High School Athletic Association bylaws and policies while being able to provide off-season training for their skilled position athletes. For teams interested in membership starting in January 2018, visit the Florida High School 7v7 Association online at fh7v7a.com.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
All right, welcome back here to the FloridaHSFootball.com radio show. Appreciate everybody listening, including all my friends that are listening that know about the show. I do appreciate all of y'all as well because, hey, if it weren't for y'all, I wouldn't be here. Part of it. But, anyways, week 2, we've had some great guests already, and I've got another great one here to last but not least in that situation of things, but it's definitely great to have some of these guests on. And our next guest, you can follow him online. He is online at JC Carnes. I'm going to spell it out here in a moment here, but I'm going to go ahead and unmute JC here the thing. But JC Carnes, it's at JC Carnes. It's JCCarnz at Twitter. He is from the Orlando Sentinel. JC Carnahan, appreciate you joining me here for a few minutes, man. Central Florida football, hey, it's fast and going down there, and we a lot of people sometimes forget, hey, the Central Florida football can be just as good as, or not better, as South Florida football in a way.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, there's a lot, just so many teams in this area, and they're all always knocking each other around, and of course, when it comes to the postseason, it's all about who's going to be the last team standing, especially in the large class 8A, as you see the past several years. So, yeah, good football here in Central Florida, and certainly happy to be joining you today, Josh. Appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate you joining and taking a few minutes because I know it's busy for you, like it is busy for me. You've had a lot going on. Some stuff we're not going to touch on because it's still ongoing stuff, but we're going to talk about more about the teams here with what's going on and stuff. Let me get started with the thought of, we were talking before we came on about Wekiva because you listened to the interview with Coach Bedesem, that I just had. And, for Wekiva going up to Georgia this weekend, I know that is a huge game for them, but Wekiva, it's just, they're like the hot team in Central Florida, period, right now. They're really catching on name, and, they're saying, hey, we're not the redheaded stepchild of Apopka anymore either.
Well, I was actually at that Apopka game last year when Wekiva finally beat them for the first time, and you could sense a little bit of relief, and then obviously just, them being overjoyed by finally kind of getting over that hump, so to speak. And then talking to a lot of the players in the preseason, a lot of times when when the preseason starts and the teams, the teams that have the targets on their backs, there's a lot of downplaying that goes on. But it was kind of refreshing to see the players just kind of having fun with all the attention that they've been getting, specifically, being ranked so high, whether it's Max Preps or other rankings that were out there. And then, of course, here in the area, they had 10 players. This is the first time this has happened here at the Orlando Sentinel. They had 10 players listed on these our Sentinel Super 60 recruiting rankings. 10 players out of 60 just from that one team. First time that's happened. And but the idea that they do have a target on their backs now, they are stacked with so much talent, and they've just been kind of having fun with it, man. I mean, they don't take it too serious. They're just like, hey, we know that teams are after us, and then we just kind of embraced it, and it makes us actually try to rise to the occasion and play our best each and every week. So that's pretty much the mindset that it's been for them. And when I was asking players also about taking that road trip up to Georgia, the big smiles were flashing across their face, because they know playing on a stage such as that up in Georgia is a pretty big deal. And as you were talking to Coach Bedesem about, a lot of these kids, never even leaving the state of Florida ever. This would be the first time making this kind of trip. So there's a lot of fun to be had. And you know what? Look, we're talking about high school football, so this should be fun. This doesn't have to be so serious, so serious day in and day out all the time. Sure, you get your stuff done, but you also try to have a lot of fun along the way.
Definitely, I agree with you on that, and again, a lot of the talk on Wekiva, but I want to shift the gear a little bit because you got a defending 8A state champion down there in Dr. Phillips, but the kickoff classic, I said to myself, JC, I said, look, okay, 21-3, Dr. Phillips may have not opened the entire playbook on Osceola because, hey, they were going to go play a state champ from Georgia the next week, and they didn't want to probably give away an entire playbook. But when now you start to look at the reports from last weekend and you realize 7 sacks, you only scored 3 points, had a 3-0 lead, but then you gave up 35 after that. That's not state championship quality material or for what a defending state champion should do coming out of the gate like that. And I think that's a little bit of a shocker. I mean, what's going on out there right with Dr. Phillips there? I mean, that's just odd.
Yeah, well, I mean, and of course, I wasn't too surprised. I know you and I talked, briefly about comparing our rankings, preseason rankings going into the season. I started Dr. Phillips at number 5 in the 6-county area that we have here. And I did that because I knew how much that they lost on offense. They returned just 2 starters, both of them being wide receivers. And not only that, though, last year, what made Dr. Phillips so effective, and especially late in the season and throughout that postseason run, was that offense did such an amazing job at not turning the ball over. Last year's offense did. They actually set a program record with the least amount of turnovers there at Dr. Phillips. And when you have a defense like Dr. Phillips has, and then you don't turn the ball over, that's going to obviously, do a lot of great things for you along the way. But now they've just got so many new kids in new positions there on offense. It's a work in progress. I was at the kickoff classic game against Osceola. Now, look, Osceola's, defensive front is pretty impressive. So, it's kind of a balancing act. Okay, is this Osceola, is the defense for Osceola just that good, or is the offensive line struggling? But you can just see the size differential there. Dr. Phillips was at a disadvantage. If a defense can only do so much, if you keep them out on the field for so long, how much much can they give you? So when they went up to Georgia, they're still just trying to get this offense into a rhythm, into a flow, and you're seeing the early struggles as a result. And really. Talking about Wekiva before this, I was at the Wekiva game last week against Jones, and offensively they struggled as well. Just being inconsistent in the passing game. The running game, you saw flashes of what could potentially, the good things to come. Brandon Hill actually, the Pittsburgh commit, he actually started getting some snaps at running back in the second half and looked really good, to be honest with you. So I think the Wekiva's offense is also kind of trying to figure out what they want to do, what they want to look like moving forward. So keep an eye on that on Wekiva and DP. how those offenses come along, because the defenses are going to be there, but how the offense is going to come along, that's going to be the key question.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm just looking at your rankings for this week, and looking at it, you had Wekiva 1, Apopka 2, you had Seminole 3. I mean, I actually have got out of these teams right now, those first 4 teams right there, and in Osceola, they're all ranked within their in their respective classifications this week. I've got them ranked, and I think you're hitting on the something. Especially, hey, it's not just about in the city of Apopka. It's not just about Apopka. It's about Apopka and Wekiva now, and I think that's probably good for city morale if you want to look at it that way.
Well, and I'll tell you what, the old school, long time Apopka Blue Darter fans, hey, they want nothing more, and Coach Bedesem was touching on it. When they played Wekiva year after year, it was let's put points up, as many and as often as we can, to kind of send that message that this is our town, that this is this is our place. And you talk about Apopka, man. Now that's a team to look out for. I started them at number 2 with my preseason rankings, and for good reason. I mean, last year they started so many sophomores and juniors on that team, and all the experience that they had, they ended up beating Seminole in the first round, ended up losing to Winter Park. And I'll tell you what, that's a team right there. Watch out, man, because defensively and offensively, with so many talented players back, I just expect them to keep on turning along, and that's why you see some of the teams in the rankings here who do end up playing Apopka. Watch out, because you really do got to bring it against them this season.
I mean, I'm looking at it right now. District Class 8A, District 4, which is the district of Wekiva and Apopka, West Orange and Evans, and your top 6 is 3 of those teams from that district. I mean, I've got 2 of those districts in the top 10 in 8A, so it's really like it's kind of it's insanity right there. And West Orange seemed to come out hot last week. I mean, let's talk about them for a second.
Yeah, well, let's talk about West Orange. I mean, I'm glad you brought them up. They actually they host Rockledge on Friday. That should be a heck of a game, by the way. But West Orange, I actually saw West Orange play Jones last year, actually at Camping World Stadium. They played that game, and West Orange, it was pretty much that game that was the kind of the turning point for what was a young West Orange team last year. They got the running back was a sophomore last year. They finally settled on. They had 2 quarterbacks kind of in and out. The one quarterback's actually Dr. Phillips now. They settled on one kid. And they just really, ever since that Jones game, just really started to come together. I was impressed by the effort they put in against Jones, because Jones was really stacked last year. And West Orange has carried that over into this season. And yeah, I mean, I expect them, they play Dr. Phillips coming up here in a week or 2. You got to figure who's probably going to be the favorite in that game when you look at what West Orange is being able to do and the struggles that DP has on offense, man. So, West Orange is certainly a team to look out for.
Yeah, you'll definitely have that battle of the Orange Crate coming up here pretty soon. And that rivalry. But you know what? I'm going to go to a team that really was kind of surprising. I mean, I had Mainland ranked number 10 last week. And then Deland did a smacking, 30-20. I mean, that score is like, oh, that's only 10 points. No, it was really not that close. I mean, if you start to look at the game itself, look the higher from first quarter to fourth quarter, Deland, that was a little bit of thing. Is the thing, because I know you noticed you started them off 13th in your rankings, and here they are. It's really like when it's like here's Deland making a statement. It's like, whoa, wait a second, hold up, what?
Well, guys, I'll tell you what. I had people ask me, why do you have Deland in your rankings? Because they won 2 games each of the past 3 years. But the secret is they had some kids who were originally had grown up in Deland, but had been playing over at Mainland. They had some of those kids come back, and so that was a big deal there. So on Friday when they played against Mainland, there was some animosity involved. You know what I mean? And in terms of, now there
was even a banner. There was even a banner I saw, and I'm like, whoa, wait a second here.
It's one of those things where the joke went too far, kind of thing. I mean, it's just it went too far. But I can tell you what I had. We did have a Mainland player and a Deland player at our media day and they were good buddies, just getting along well and stuff. So it's not like that. Oh, the players are going to hate each other, but everyone else surrounding, everyone else surrounding the football programs are going to be the ones who kind of bicker and make a big fuss out of kids transferring from one place to another, and oh, you're on our side now, and now you're trading on, a trader now or whatever. But DeLand gets out in front 21-0 on Mainland. Now Mainland, they're in a situation now where they're trying to figure out who's our quarterback. So they got two kids, pretty much in and out, trying to figure out who's going to be the hot hand there. And DeLand, getting that big lead, that was huge for DeLand. Imagine the confidence, where you have some kids who come over from Mainland who have won games in the past. You kind of bring that winning mentality that kind of can become contagious. And man, once you get out to an early lead, I'm sure that sideline was just fired up. You know what I mean? Just the idea that, oh my God, we're going to beat Mainland for the first time since 2011, and then they get it done. So and I'll tell you what, I am going to see. I'll be in Sanford to see DeLand play Seminole, and I already heard last week at the game some DeLand players were giving Chris Hayes a hard time, saying, "Oh man, you only got us ranked number 13, man. What's going on? That's messed up." Blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, you guys win 6 total games the past 3 years, man. So
it takes time, and that's what I tell people about rankings. It's explain the thing. It's sometimes you could go out and prove it on the field first, then we'll talk about rankings here. It just depends on how it goes. It's just
but it makes the job exciting. It makes the job exciting. The kids are into it. Hey, it's all in good fun. Obviously what we do is hey man, I'd root for everyone. I'd root for every team. Of course, if I was just a fan, but to be able to kind of give them something to get fired up about, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean that will definitely be a lot of fun, and of course, it's like, hey, I mean, we all know where good things end for a season. That's in Orlando at the end of the year, and we definitely know that. Hey, y'all, I mean, it's been rare that y'all not have a team represent the Orlando area in the state championships. It's been a while now, but at least once, every year, at least one team makes it in your coverage area. I mean, I think that's huge for y'all when that happens.
Yeah, I mean, hey, and then you think about it, it's just so many, it's such high population schools around here. So there's tons of Class 8A schools here. You've got, but now we've got Edgewater. We certainly should talk about Edgewater in Class 7A, who was 0-10 2 years ago. Last year ended up winning a district title. Ended up winning a playoff game last year. It's unbelievable what the turnaround has been like there. With Cameron Duke came over from Lake Highland Prep. And, a couple years ago, and it just really has the things turned around there for Edgewater. And, they came out, won big in the Kickoff Classic against Winter Park. Obviously, Winter Park's dealing with some issues, of course, at this point in the season. But, they had some off-the-field, things that are going on. But it's an impressive win for Edgewater. And then they go and beat Bishop Moore last week after losing 5 straight to their College Park neighbors. Another momentum type of game there for Edgewater, man. So watch out for them in 7A. I don't know how they compare to the other 7A teams throughout the state, but keep an eye on them. I know, I vote in the Associated Press, state rankings as well, and I've been pitching that out there. Hey, keep an eye on Edgewater because I expect them to be, a team that's going to do some big things throughout their schedule this season.
Yeah, I mean, I've got them in the mix of in my rankings right now as well. I mean, I've got them as an honorable mention right this second, and that's a big them, because I'm like, hey, they are doing something. They, when you beat your neighbors like that in a good neighborhood slop knocker, as I would call it, that's probably what it was. In the Battle of College Park, that right there, Bishop Moore, that Bishop Moore is not an easy team to beat, and you beat them.
No, they're going to be good too.
Right, and that's the thing.
Yeah,
Bishop Moore is always in contention for their district. I mean, just looking at him, I mean, again, I had him honorable mention. Man, I had him 14 out of 15 teams because of the honorable mention, I put him in order as how I feel. And I mean, you got to look at Fleming Island, Vieira, Nova out of Davie, Palmetto. These teams are during the mix here, and and it's going to be 7A is going to fluctuate a little bit. Considering hey, Venice lost last week. That's the defending state champ, and it's gonna be interesting to see. In the next few weeks, we'll really start to get a good gauge of where teams are going to stand, especially once we get after week 5. We're going to start knowing, hey, what is your playoff fate starting to look like? Because we're going to start seeing those points updates, and and then of course by the time we get to the end of the season, we'll really know who's in, who's still in the mix, and but hang up your helmets and cleats. The season's over.
And then now over the of course last year with the new playoff point system in place, we've got a whole year of that under our belts now. What's been your take from coaches, I guess, in terms of how they felt? Is there a consensus that coaches are all on board with this new format, or what?
I mean that's a good question, because the thing is, and I want to hear your take as well from what you're hearing as well. But for me, I'm hearing that a lot of coaches are finally settling in. Some are still out to lunch on it. Some are still like, I want to go back to districts and stuff. But I can almost tell everybody right now on this show right now, they can understand it. Just I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings. Well, actually, I'm not sorry, because I'm sorry, not sorry in a way. The point system's here to stay. It's going to be here to stay. You expect your smaller school teams to be playing in regions with no district mandate, and in your larger schools playing with a district and having that district mandate. It's just the way it is. The public schools want it one way. The majority of the private schools, they see it another way. And you know what? The FHA is trying to accommodate them. And if and at the end of the day, and I'll stress it again. I stressed it last week. I'll stress it again. I think if the FHA can get it down, and I've got some stuff to do to push for this, but if they reduce by one classification in football, like they want to do with the other team sports, with they're reducing it going from 9 to 7 with what they want to do, and with the other sports, but do it for football, go from 8 to 7, they'll have it made. They will have the system made, because I think that in the end is and then all you have to do, play 4 state championships one day, 3 another, and we'll have a 2-day weekend of football. That's the way I see it.
Yeah. I don't know if that'll. I don't know. I would be. It would surprise me if they end up, dropping a classification in football. But I will say one thing: the lower classifications. I do like the idea that they added the 2 more teams.
Oh yes.
Per region in the playoffs, and the reason I say that is because now. It's a situation where last year there were maybe some teams that finished 5th or 6th who, hell, they probably could have went ahead and
let me bring up a good one, Foundation Academy. They were right on the up, and I heard from Coach Lord there, and he was livid.
Yeah.
Now, he's fired up now. Of course, they're a team that could have benefited huge, and another one, Booker T. Washington down in Miami. Those are 2 teams right there I can list off the bat that would have been in if they had 6 teams last year instead of 4. That's just a big difference right there.
And the point I want to make about that is now, okay, with having six teams in each region, now there's really no question. There's really no question now, because If that 5th or 6th team is really an average team, well, then we're going to find that out real quick in the first round of the playoffs. Okay, end of story, boom. But now we get a definite answer that every team that deserved to be in it is in it. It's not going to be like last year ever again in terms of, oh man, if this team had a chance, Now I feel like the teams that are deserving, there's really no way that anyone misses out. If you're deserving, I think you're going to get in. And then if you end up 7th, there's just, obviously there's no way that you deserve it at that point. But, those fringe teams were maybe playing tougher schedules than some of the others, so they end up finishing 5th, let's say. Well, those teams, at least get a chance now to prove their worth. And I think that's a good thing overall.
That is a good thing, and then them increasing the points, for points per loss by 5 points. I think that definitely changes a lot of dynamics. Now it's like, hey, you're playing. If you're going to play Cat 1 team, and you lose to them, hey, that's 35 points. You take the loss for playing a good team versus winning against a weak team that's a Cat 4. That's the big difference. Those 2 changes, I think, is definitely going to have a big dynamic on how the playoffs shape up. And again, we're going to start to see those first numbers once they come out. Once we get through week 5, we'll start seeing some numbers start to roll out, and we'll get a good idea who's really in contention. And
how exciting was that?
The thing is, and knock on wood, hey, I seen the National Hurricane Center put up, there's a good chance of a tropical depression developing out there or something. And just as long as it stays out in the Mid-Atlantic, I don't care. But don't come to Florida. We don't need that. I mean, I know what we were facing this time last year. We were looking down the alley, looking at Hurricane Irma coming. That was scary.
Yeah.
So, but at least we're not doing that right now. So thank goodness.
Yeah, I hear you there, man.
That's the thing, and then I know you remember that games on a Monday, games on a Tuesday, games on Friday, games on a Thursday because we're trying to make up games. I mean, it's like
and now every Friday it's like I go outside. I'm like, okay, if you're gonna rain, do it at 2:00. Because now if it's not a hurricane, you're worried about the lightning, and so now there's like anxiety that kicks in every Friday for me, man. I'm like, can we just get these games in? Because if I have to write another hurricane or weather delay story, I don't know if I can get through that, man. I had to do that for baseball too, So, oh man, Josh.
You're from Ohio, so that's the thing. How does a native Ohioan do this? I handle this down here in Florida, but you've been down here long enough to know how to handle it now.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I'm a Florida boy now, man. I've been here long enough man. I'm a t-shirt and shorts kind of guy. So Florida all the way, man.
Definitely, indeed. Well, JC, I definitely appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your busy schedule. I'll definitely get you on later on in the season again to talk more because I know that Orlando area will be definitely jam-packed when it comes time for the playoffs, and we'll definitely have some fun with that. So I appreciate you joining me here.
Hey, man, I certainly appreciate it, and I'm sure we'll see you later on this season, man. Best of luck to you. Don't work too hard.
I'm trying not to, but hey, it's all fun. Hey, have a good one, JC.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Right, take care. That was JC Carnahan from the Orlando Sentinel. Remember, you can follow him on Twitter at JC Carnes, and he's at the Orlando Sentinel. And you can follow the Orlando Sentinel with their high school stuff, Sentinel Varsity at OS Varsity, and you can go online directly to sentinelvarsity.com and see all the stuff at the Orlando Sentinel. All right, we're going to take one final break, wrap this thing up, and call it a night, and get ready for week 2. Give you a rundown of some of these top games here that we've picked out with involving our teams this week, and we'll talk about those for a few minutes. But we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back here on the FloorHSFootball.com radio show. Keep it locked in.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
The Florida Athletic Coaches Association has been the state's premier coaches association for high school coaches since 1936. From coaching clinics to all-star games for all Florida High School Athletic Association team sports, the Florida Athletic Coaches Association has something for all coaches to be involved with from Pensacola to Key West. To inquire about membership, visit the Florida Athletic Coaches Association online at floridacoaches.org. That is floridacoaches.org. Legacy Team Sales is the official clothing sponsor of FloorHSFootball.com, serving the entire state of Florida with everything a team needs and beyond. From shirts to ball caps and from jerseys to promotional gear, Legacy Team Sales has it all, including embroidery and screen printing services. Visit them online at shoplts.com or visit their showroom and warehouse at 1417 Southwest 17th Street in Ocala between US 301 and State Road 200. FloorHSFootball.com is a proud media partner of the Florida High School 7v7 Association. The goal of the Florida High School 7v7 Association is to provide high school football teams around the state an association that complies with Florida High School Athletic Association bylaws and policies while being able to provide off-season training for their skilled position athletes. For teams interested in membership starting in January 2018, visit the Florida High School 7v7 Association online at fh7v7a.com.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
Legacy Team Sales is the official clothing sponsor of FloridaHSFootball.com, serving the entire state of Florida with everything a team needs and beyond. From shirts to ball caps and from jerseys to promotional gear, Legacy Team Sales has it all, including embroidery and screen printing services. Visit them online at shoplts.com or visit their showroom and warehouse at 1417 Southwest 17th Street in Ocala between US 301 and State Road 200. The Florida Athletic Coaches Association has been the state's premier coaches association for high school coaches since 1936. From coaching clinics to all-star games for all Florida High School Athletic Association team sports, the Florida Athletic Coaches Association has something for all coaches to be involved with from Pensacola to Key West. To inquire about membership, visit the Florida Athletic Coaches Association online at floridacoaches.org. That is floridacoaches.org.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
FloridaHSFootball.com is a proud media partner of the Florida High School 7v7 Association. The goal of the Florida High School 7v7 Association is to provide high school football teams around the state an association that complies with Florida High School Athletic Association bylaws and policies while being able to provide off-season training for their skilled position athletes. For teams interested in membership starting in January 2018, visit the Florida High School 7v7 Association online at fh7v7a.com.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
All right, welcome back here to the FloridaHSFootball.com radio show as we wrap things up here. It's been a great show so far. Having Jeff Martin from X's and O's, Jeff Fisher from High School Football America, head coach Rich Bedesem from Wekiva High School, and J.C. Carnahan from the Orlando Sentinel. Some great guests. We'll get more great guests lined up for next week. Hopefully I can get Alan Slaughterzinski from the Space Coast Daily on here to talk some Brevard County football. I have joined him on his live video last week. I think he was doing it tonight, so and this is actually the off exception because hopefully I can do it more than just actually join him each and every week on those live video feeds that he does, talking some football and stuff. Hopefully, he does it on this thing, so we'll do some of that, and hopefully we'll be able to do some thing. But looking at the 10 games I picked out this week, I put them on the media pick'ems, also on the pick'ems. Here you can actually participate in the pick'ems on FloridaHSFootball.com/forums, and on our message board free account. I apologize if I have not approved anybody in the last couple of days, but because it's a manual approve on new accounts. Just make sure protecting everybody. That's all. That's the way it goes. But anyways, looking at the games this week, I've got number 4, Miami Northwestern, at number 9, Columbus. That is our big statewide game of the week. The only matchup between top 25 teams this week. But some other big games going on this week around the state. Number 3, Miami Central versus Booker T. Washington, and that'll be at Trask Powell. The Miami Northwestern Columbus game will be at Tropical Park. Number 12, Cocoa at Treasure Coast at South County Stadium in Port St. Lucie. Number 15, Dwyer at Delray Beach Atlantic. That'll be at Eagle Stadium at Delray Beach at Atlantic High School. That game is actually a 6 o'clock kick because all Palm Beach County schools now are on 6 o'clock kicks for the rest of the season. No longer 7 o'clock kicks after all the stuff that happened. And of course, I'll mention about some other stuff going on around the state that has been as a result of what has happened down in Palm Beach County and Jacksonville over the last 2 weeks. I'll mention that in a couple of minutes here. Number 23, Apopka, is at Barton Trail this week. Number 20, Deerfield Beach at Buford, Georgia. That actually is not part of the Freedom Bowl, but that's a big game between Florida versus Georgia. Beholtz at Vanguard. Vanguard ranked number 17. That'll be at Booster Stadium in Ocala. Number 6, Cardinal Gibbons versus Milton, Georgia on Friday night. And then we have number 10, Wekiva versus North Gwinnett, which we've talked about these games here again, and that'll be the nightcap 8:30 at Milton High. And we also we had to put some Panhandle love in our pick'ems this week. Vernon, which did not play last week after Freeport canceled the game with them, it was a mutual cancellation of various things going on. They're going to be at Baker this week. Baker's ranked number 5 in Class 1A, so a battle of the Class 1A teams. Both teams are going to be very, very strong, and that game's going to be really good. So, I mean, if you're thinking this might be a little bit of a craziness of, Baker's going to run over Vernon, just hold up. It's going to be, actually, both of them are going to be close. So, that's going to be a really good game out in the Panhandle, and we got to show some Panhandle love here every now and then, because, hey, the Panhandle is part of our state. We love the Panhandle as much as, and I really, the Panhandle teams, hey, we've got Navarre ranked in 6A. We've got Crestview ranked in 6A. I mean, we've got Escambia ranked in 6A. So those teams, hey, Panhandle football is really good. Don't ignore the Panhandle. Please don't. I mean, that's just the way it is. So again, a lot of things. But this week, right now, from my understanding, is that the Lee it's the Lee Westside game and the First Coast. Let me get those two games pulled up, because Justin Barney tweeted it yesterday, and there was two games. Duval County made the announcement on Monday that some of the more popular games for the rest of the season will be moved. We're not sure what games. We just know that, from my understanding, from what we've got now, is that 2 games have been moved, and that's it for right this second. So what we're trying to understand is that what games are going to be things. So it's Rains at First Coast, Lee at Westside have been moved from this Friday night, 7 o'clock, to Saturday morning at 10. So the remaining game changes are supposed to be announced by the end of the week. So that might come tomorrow. That might come Friday. We don't know. We will have to wait and see. As far as something, Navarre announced that no more backpacks are going to be allowed in games. Alachua County just went to a clear bag policy for the remainder of the season for all their high school games. So those are some things that have changed as a result of what has happened in Palm Beach County and Duval County in the last 2 weeks. So again, there's a lot of changes going right now here in the state. It's a sign of the times. Things are changing here. It's just one of those things. It's a sad reality. I mean, I don't want to become too opinionated on it, but I tell you what, when I was in high school, and this is going back now a good 15 years, 15 years, it's really just, it's one of those things where it's just gone back to it's very sad. It's very sad to see what has happened. It's very sad that we're in this state of reality now, that we have to deal with what used to be the norm for high school football games may not become the norm so much now. I mean, earlier start times, bags, clear bag policy, maybe no bags at all, thing. This is the way things have changed, and unfortunately, for the minority of people that commit, that have done the things that caused the majority to pay the price, and unfortunately, that's the way it is right now. It's just the way it's going to be. But again, that's just how it goes. But I mean, I don't know how much more I could say. That's the thing. So. Again, a lot going on. Hopefully, for the next week, we'll keep things. But looking at some of these games, we've got a lot going on here. You can check out the rankings on FloydHSFootball.com, both the classification, Sunshine State Athletic Conference, and the Sunshine State Top 25 rankings. So all of that on FloydHSFootball.com. Joe Pinko's forecast. Joe does have a forecast line of a team going to win by 74 points this week. Union County over Merrill Island Christian. That is the forecast. I mean, that's the highest forecast I've seen looking through the forecast things. That's the way it's. We'll see. I mean, sometimes those things do happen. Sometimes they don't. That's the way it goes. But we'll have some preview stuff tomorrow and Friday morning on FloydHSFootball.com for the games, for our 10 games that I mentioned here. And Nominations for Riddell Player of the Week, that'll open up at 10 o'clock on Friday night again for week 2, so make sure you get on FloorHSFootball.com after 10 o'clock on Friday nights. We'll have the nomination form up until 6 every Sunday. This will be doing every week through the season. If you want to submit a nomination for the Riddell Player of the Week, coaches and media, this is the way to do it. I mean, I do cruise the newspaper articles. I do take a look. That's some get some information. But helping nominate some of these players, that'll take a big help for that, because we want to make sure we have a winner in each classification each and every week. And we'll have some effort. Actually, we'll post some stuff tomorrow with more about the winners of the players of the week, and we'll go through some of our players from week 1 that really had standout performances, because we do have some. There was quite a few standout performances across the state, so we'll mention those guys as well. I mean, some of the other people we'll try to work on getting on. We'll have get Irish Bill Hamill from out in the Panhandle, the voice of the Navarre Raiders, knows the Panhandle very well, very, very much knowledgeable, so we'll try to get him on. A lot of great people that we got around the state, we're going to get them on. We'll have him on as guest. When Mike Right Up from the Prep Zone, I mean, just a bunch of people. When we'll go even some of with the coaches, when we think, like with Coach Bedesem this week, that's what we want to do. Bring those coaches on, the hot topics, that's what we're going to do. That's the way we're going to work the show. If you got suggestions, message me. Message me on Twitter at FLAHS Football. Send us a tweet. Who do you want to hear? What do you want to see? That's the way I'm going to go with it. We're going to work it. We're going to have fun with this. We're going to do this every week during the season. When we'll come back, we'll get through the season. We'll have Christmas break. We'll take a couple weeks off. Then we'll be right back at it. Talking about with revealing first team players for All State, and we'll go right into flag football, and we'll go spring football. This is the way it's going to be. So this is why we're going to have fun. I'll hopefully get Marty back on, with thing, and once he gets his schedule just adjusted out a little bit with what he's doing. But we're going to have fun. We're going to do this, and this is the way it's going to be. And if you're interested in doing sponsorships with this show and for the Friday night scoreboard, which is Fridays 10 to midnight here on FloorHSFootball.com, send me an email, joshua.wilson@FloorHSFootball.com, and we'll talk about sponsorships. So we'll see what we got going on. We're going to have a lot of fun this season. So again, it's week 2. It's been fun, guys, but it's all good things must come to a close. So, yeah, it's time to sign off for the night. We've been on here for about a couple hours, 11 minutes after, but hey, that's what the flexibility is. We're not like on a radio station per se, but we've got live radio, so we're having fun with it. All right, guys, we'll be back here on Friday night, 10 to midnight, for the Friday night scoreboard. We'll see you then. Until then, have a good night, and good luck to everybody this week in their week 2 games. This has been a production of FloorHSFootball.com. Copyright 2018, Florida HS Football LLC. All rights reserved.